Hello, Lego fans, and welcome into a brand new episode of the Brick Hour podcast. I am JJ, otherwise known as Lancaster Builds over on Instagram.
I'm Cameron, otherwise known as Cameron Studios.
And joining us today for this week's topic is our very good friend, Doug, otherwise known as DOTU Bricks.
Hello.
Doug, for those who may not be familiar with you, would you be willing to just give a quick pitch about who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Doug, and I run DOTU Bricks, which is a YouTube channel and a Bricklink store. And that's pretty much the big thing for me. I just putting parts in my store, selling parts from the store. I also work with Bricks Rock pretty closely, getting stuff into their store that they need for some of the kits that he's building for the events that they're doing, that sort of thing. So it's an all-around project.
And the fact that you do run a Bricklink store is a huge part of why you were here today, because we are specifically going to be talking about price for piece and whether or not that metric really matters anymore with sets nowadays.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into that discussion, Cam, what are we building this week?
What are we building? Well, for those, if this is your first time viewing, what are we building is we just discussed what we've been building since last episode. So to start off, shout out to LJ, our good friend. I fixed I fixed him. His arm's not broken after Brick Fair anymore.
You fixed him. You mean you fixed Sidorak?
I forgot the name. Okay. I grew up with him being the Red Bionicle. That's all I cared about. He wasn't whatever his name is.
He's the red bionicle.
He was a dark red Bionicle that was awesome to me, and I'm not going to remember about him from the movie. His character doesn't matter in the movie, to me at least. And then I just finished redoing my Star Wars shelf, and in honor of that, I finished C3PO.
That's a
Gotta
good build.
say, this came out phenomenal, and especially paired with that R2D2 that it's supposed to be paired with for the 100th anniversary of Darth Malak. These two go great together, and it's a great corner piece in my Star Wars shelf now.
And the fact you
And
got it for half off is pretty sweet too.
yeah, that I'm pretty proud of that one. I don't know how it was on half price at Walmart when it's still full price at the Lego Strike. That's the only place I've seen it on sale, and
Mhm.
it's for no reason. But
Yeah, that
that
happens sometimes at Walmart.
I'm not complaining. I'll take it. I mean, I got our good friend Gina a Bumblebee half off too. Maybe they were just getting ready for
That's a
Soundwave. I don't
great
know.
set.
But no, great set. So definitely check out Walmart for discounts. But that's all I've been building. Doug, what have you been building?
So not much, but because I generally am not a builder as much. But recently I went over to Bricks Rock and they have a bunch of sets that you can just put together while you're there. And so it was the Avengers versus the Leviathan set.
Hmm.
It was basically Kendall had bought it on clearance. He wanted the Hulk, so that wasn't present, and I built the whole rest of the thing.
Hmm.
I guess the figures are going to go into their figure case, and the build will get sold as the build at some point. So
Cool. That's fun.
I
That's a
might
good set
snag that
too.
actually.
Honestly, it's not
I might
terrible.
snag that actually.
Just the Leviathan.
I mean, you can't have there's nothing wrong with having more than one or
No, that's a good
three
point.
at this point that I think I'll end up having. All right, JJ, what are you building?
So I'm gonna start with one little thing. I traded a set I had. I traded my Castle Forestman gift with purchase to our friend Rob. Um, I really didn't. I'm not a castle guy, so I kind of traded to him because I wanted to get some stuff out of it. So he threw in this piece, and it's a Batman Type 3 cowl, sorry, Type 2 cowl, but it is in transparent, like crystalline color.
Ooh.
It's basically it's one of those like test molds from the factory in Mexico. Um, so this is really cool, and I want to try to find a way to put it into the cave for its last appearance. So I had to do that. But the main reason I traded him that was because I got and also kind of refurbished a little bit the 2014 AT-AT.
Mm.
And my reason for picking this up is I plan to modify it. Obviously, a lot of you guys know I went down the rabbit hole of modifying Millennium Falcons, as you can see from right there and right there. So this AT-AT will get modified into something fun, probably around Bane. I'm not gonna lie. I've been running with the idea of the Bane T-AT for a very long time, so I'm probably gonna run with that, and it'll most likely end up being orange and black. So that'll be a really fun idea to get done in the near future here. But that is all I have for what are we
Oh,
building this week.
actually,
Oh
I
no,
just forgot.
I lied.
Who?
I lied. Soundwave is up there. Finally built him. I will not lie and say that I took about 3 hours building him. because about an hour and a half of build time was me clicking the button to listen to all his voice lines, multiple times over because it was just way too fun. And
It's like
then
we're back at the Lego store again.
back over here now we have the I built the Val Kilmer Batmobile, the Batman Forever Batmobile. So that is actually a really great just standalone build. Very intricate, a lot of cool building techniques on
Mhm.
that. So I'm very happy to have that Batmobile and kind of keep my collection of Batmobiles growing. But that is all I have.
So speaking of
For
Batman, I
the
forgot something. No, go ahead, Doug.
I was gonna say for the Soundwave sound chip, how many phrases are in there? Because I've never heard anybody mention that.
A lot. Like he's got like 5 or 6 for each mini bot, which is crazy. And they go in order. They're not randomized. So
Mhm.
like what's cool is when you first open the sound brick and you click the button, it does like the Transformers like scene transition noise. The
Hmm.
second beep is like the classic like Transformers bit, and then the next one is him being like destroy all Autobots, and then you keep clicking the buttons, and it like after like 2 or 3 more clicks, he'll say Laserbeak eject. Click it again, it's Laserbeak take flight, and then it's like Operation whatever. And after you click it a few more times, like it's almost like a play feature. Like you can click the button, eject Laserbeak, hit the button again, it makes transform noise for Laserbeak,
Hmm.
and you hit it one last time to give Laserbeak the command, which is awesome. And those cassette bot builds are sweet too. I love those. I almost wish we had got like a gift with purchase with like Rumble and Frenzy included too. Maybe just throw them in
Mm.
as like they're not in the set because it would have raised the price, but like, hey,
Sure.
here's a little gift with purchase
Could
for all
you
the
make them
Transformer
on your
builds.
own?
I could. I probably won't, but I could.
Try.
Maybe. I also that Soundwave cassette, the little mini cassette player that comes with it that's attached to the display base is to scale with the Brickhead. So I'm not convinced that that's not a Brickhead side build for him at this point.
Oh, geez. All right. Your Batman build remind me, I got some cool customs from Venom CBW. They
You
came
did,
in
yes.
because you gave me Clayface at Brick Fair. I
Mhm.
forgot to bring the ones I got. So I got the classic purple Catwoman.
Yes, the OGP Catwoman.
I got Hush
Yeah.
from the Lego
Mhm.
Batman game. I grabbed Red X from classic Teen Titans.
I sniped
He's
him too.
really
He's
cool.
he's really cool.
I grabbed Teen Titans Slade
Hmm.
and then a couple of Dark Sabers.
Uh,
And I just want to get that I'm blanking on her name, Catwoman. I want to get a Catwoman, and I just want to get the others to get free shipping, but they're really solid customs. So if you haven't gotten many customs, you want to try one out, definitely check out Venom CBW.
I will say, check out Venom CBW in a few weeks. We're gonna show some support to him right now because he unfortunately had his store practically taken down by Shopify, thanks to some clowns on the community who decided to go after him maliciously. So he's got everything figured out. His store is getting retooled to get relaunched. But we just want to say, Luke, we're with you, man. We can't wait to see what you guys do next, and we look forward to your store reopening very soon. But now we're going to get into the topic this week, which is all about price per piece. Price per piece is kind of like the Bible when it comes to the Lego community. It is like the thing you go to when it comes to determining the value of a set. Generally speaking, I'm gonna say thumbnail, but um,
The
The rule of
rule.
standard.
thumb.
Thank
Standard,
you.
yeah.
Rule of thumb. That's what I'm thinking. The rule of thumb you look for is if a set is 10 cents per piece, you're good. That basically will help determine the price. So if a set has, 900 pieces, realistically it would probably be about $90 because it'd be not 10 cents per individual element. Now, recently, a lot of sets have seen price per piece ratios skyrocket through the roof, specifically around Star Wars. We all know the turbo tank is ridiculously overpriced. The MTT is ridiculously overpriced. The new battle pack ridiculously overpriced. There's been a lot of other themes that have seen crazy wild price per piece ratios for certain sets, and they seem to be just warming shelves. So that has started to make us wonder, does price per piece really even matter anymore? Lego seems to be abandoning this metric a little bit in terms of with value wise. So that's why Doug is here because Doug, obviously you run a Bricklink store. You're all about value of different elements and
Sure.
ones that are cheaper rather than more expensive. So For you, how do you feel about price per piece on the whole so far?
Um, it has gone up. There's no question about that, and it's been a kind of a slow creep, I think, generally speaking, over a number of years. Certain sets, like you've mentioned, are spiking higher, but I think there's also some reason for some of those spikes.
Hmm.
And so what I did is recently I polled a bunch of people that have been on your show and
Hmm.
some people in the lug, and I came up with a list of 40 sets. I think it was 40. Yeah, 40 sets that span from actually pre 1980, although we have no price data on those,
Hmm.
all the way up to this year. And then I looked at the original retail price and I looked at the piece count and did the math. And it's kind of been consistent 10, 11, 9 cents for a long time with
Hmm.
some outliers.
Yes.
And some of those are for reasons that make some sense. Like I noticed that some of the sets people mentioned had raised base plates that they don't do anymore, but they did have them at different points. Those were always higher than the 10 cents.
Hmm.
Yes.
I also noticed that sometimes the higher figure count sets would be a little higher.
Mhm.
Sets with larger pieces in general. There was one castle set that I think it had like 4 or 6 minifigs, but it also had 4 horses in it.
Mhm.
That's
Oh.
adding a horse is one piece, but that's an expensive piece.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't, nobody mentioned it, and I decided not to include it. But the monorail is a classic example too, because we
Yes.
all know that the
Oh.
monorail pieces, those track pieces, were not even made by Lego. They
Oh.
outsourced that.
Hmm.
And from what I understand, they outsourced all of the raised base plates as well. So again, increased cost there. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Like one of the sets that somebody had was a Bionicle set. And it was a small set, but it was a high price. But that's those Bionicle pieces are very different and specialized,
Hmm.
Hmm.
especially from the year. It was a 2001, which I believe was early on in Bionicle.
It was like the
Yes. The
first
first
year,
year.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they had to buy molds and all that sort of thing for all these pieces, all of them. It's not
Mhm.
like a new set might have one or two new molds in it. All the Bionicle, when it first came out, they were all new molds.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So I think that increased the price of initial sets, perhaps.
And we'll take a look at that spreadsheet in just a minute here. We'll go through and look at some data there. But Cam, what are your thoughts so far with price per piece?
So price per piece isn't something I've necessarily looked at often. Like I'll look at it occasionally. Like if I see 900 pieces, I'll expect somewhere around $90. But as Doug mentioned, like I take minifigures in consideration. I take like the size of the actual build, the kind of pieces that are involved. Obviously, Mr. Marvel, there have been some sets that have felt better priced than others. Like perfect example, the Hoopty, way overpriced for what seems to be no reason. There's nothing special about it. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a solid build, but it's not $80.
No.
Or you got the X-Jet, the new one. That was seemingly overpriced, especially since we got most of those characters later on in other sets. So for me, I never necessarily looked at price per piece just because it just like if it's like a creative 3-in-1, that's going to be priced a lot differently than like a Star Wars or a IP set.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I try just if I build it and like I feel like I'm getting my money's worth, I'll look better. But another thing that as well as pieces have been going up in value, so have minifigures. I mean, I'm going back to collectible minifigures. They used to be $3 for each collectible minifigure. Now we're at $5. So I kind of feel like that plays sort of somewhat of a factor. Like while yes, we get really detailed minifigures in the CMFs, some minifigures we're getting now have special molded heads. Some have two arms on each side. Some tall legs. Some like the Avatar sets, like they have molded hair pieces, molded heads, longer arms, longer legs. So I feel like there's a lot of differing factors. So me personally, I've never felt like price per piece was necessarily something to base your purchase also off of.
I would say that too. I think another thing with price per piece that we have to take into consideration, and Doug kind of touched on this a minute ago, is I think there's a lot of misconception around some things because there's some themes like Lego City, for example. The trains that have the large chassis pieces and the motors that make the trains drive and the remotes, those
Hmm.
sets
And the
always
track.
end up being very expensive. But people
Yeah.
don't mind paying those prices for them because you're getting the train, but you're also getting all these electronic components with
Right.
it. So that factors into that price. Because quite frankly, you're not paying 10 cents for one of those remotes. Like that's not happening.
Hmm.
Jurassic Park, another big one, or Jurassic World, another big one. Those big, giant, moldable dinosaur pieces are not 10 cents per one of those. It's not happening. So
No.
those sets are always way more expensive than like other counterparts that don't have those, because everybody just knows those large dinosaur pieces are more expensive for Lego to manufacture,
Well, also
which
to your
equates into
fact,
prices.
like with some city sets, you get like those big hull, like ship hull
Yeah,
pieces.
the
Like for
boats, the other one.
your the boats, you got the boats. But then if you take like a $50 city set and compare it to a $50 Harry Potter set, with Lego City being Lego's IP versus Harry Potter, which is an IP they have to buy, you're probably gonna get more bang for your buck with the city set versus a Harry Potter set because
I
you
would
get
say
to pay the IP tax.
the only difference there might be, in my opinion at least, you might get quote quote better figures in the Harry Potter set.
Hmm.
They're probably going to be a little more detailed than the city set ones. Not always, but a lot of times, on average, I think the IP ones are demanding a better value or
Hmm.
look to the figures. And so that helps a little bit on that side.
Well,
I
If they're
also
going to
also,
make the figure, if they make it better, it's still the same cost. It's just the figure.
Yeah, I also think when you look at the IP tax too, like with certain things, like there are certain IP themes that have really good price. Like
mhm.
DC right now has like that the new Batmobile was $100 for 900 pieces. That's a pretty solid price for piece ratio right
It
there. That's
is.
not bad. The new Arkham has almost 3,000 pieces. It's $300. Yeah, that's a good price for piece there. I
So
can
that's
justify that.
something else that's popping to my head. Like with Arkham, a lot of them have the same torso. So like that's not an expensive piece. And like with City, I'm sure that there are a number of torsos and leg prints and face prints and hair pieces that could just get reused on a number of different sets within City and other sets, making
Yep.
that set cheaper versus like Harry Potter, where you have to have like the special prints or a molded head for Dobby or the big fig, well, not big fig, whatever you would call Hagrid, because he's not a minifigure, but he's not a big figure. He's like in between.
He's like a mid fig.
Yeah, mid fig. I don't think anyone's ever used that term. We should coin that.
No, that's definitely been used. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like people's big problem right now has been Star Wars and been
Hmm.
some of this like Star Wars. Those IPs, that IP just commands a higher price point at this point, regardless of the quality of the builds. Doesn't really matter to them. Like they just like the Republic Juggernaut, 20 cents per piece. That's nuts. Like, and people see
I'm
that. Like
I'm just flashing back to your rant on the August buyer's guide for
he's
that.
flipping out on the turbo tank. Yeah. Um, but I mean, but you see the point though. Like, if not every IP, like the Fortnite sets have pretty good
Yeah.
price for piece ratio there. Like, and there's a lot of brand new molds, brand new prints in that. So I don't think minifigure printing really affects. I think it's mostly just like new pieces, larger specialized
Hmm.
parts. Because we also know from Star Wars that the General Grievous figure costs them a ton to manufacture. So anything that has General Grievous goes through the roof price wise because he's just an expensive figure, which makes me think that they're probably going to retool him at some point to try to keep costs down and maybe make him just a regular minifigure, which people will lose
Hmm.
their minds if that happens. But
I don't know, I mean, like Doug,
Yeah, you
correct
mentioned
me if I'm wrong. Like with like the Fortnite sets, they could be a lower price just because of how much Lego and Fortnite have invested into each other.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah,
mhm,
go
With
ahead.
what was it, like a $4 billion investment in that or something? Or
something crazy
So,
like that.
just huge.
yeah, a huge amount, and like they get Lego Fortnite the video game, but then you get the Fortnite sets. It's like they worked well together, and like I feel like
Yeah,
that's why the price on those sets are lower.
yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I'm checking right now. I didn't even. I probably should have just before. I'm checking what the One Piece sets look like in terms of that price per piece, because that's really going to be telling there,
And they
depending
have a
on what
lot
that
of
looks
new
like.
figures. Like I've seen a lot of new pieces come out of it, and like I
Yeah.
don't know if how much, because like it feels like Lego's getting the benefit out of One Piece, whereas like with Fortnite, they both benefited from each other. Because I'm sure, I don't know the exact numbers,
One
but I'm
Piece looks
sure
pretty good too.
the
One
number of
Piece.
downloads Fortnite got was huge.
I mean, the Going Merry pirate ship, 1,376 pieces for $140. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
The
Yep.
the Baratier 3402 for a piece count, 330 for a price.
that's really good.
Yeah, all these piece counts for One Piece lock. So for me, I feel like it's not an IP tax, it's the Disney tax because
Hmm.
seemingly all of the wicked expensive IP sets are all Disney owned properties. The
Right.
Marvel, your Star Wars, the Disney Princess stuff, like those all seemingly go through the roof.
Hmm.
I feel like it's more of a Disney tax than anything with those.
So like I'm
Very
looking
well
at
could
a
be true.
set with like different part size. Like I remember the Lego Idea ship in a bottle.
Mhm.
That part count is inflated because of all the one by ones trans blue studs that plays as the water. Like I think there was like 100 of the trans blue studs in that set. And like yeah, you got some of the trans clear pieces for like the bottle, but like one bag of that set was just one by one studs. And it just
Yeah.
kind of inflated the
And that's
part
something
count.
else I was going to mention. I know a lot of people that I converse with have noticed that over the years, the part count of the sets keeps increasing. Like, I mean, we have
Yes,
what, a 10,000 part set now and all this. They're
Hmm.
huge sets, but the general size of the pieces are getting smaller
Hmm.
because you're getting more greebling, more detail work, and just more fine details, which is great.
correct.
But now you've got a set that's like 2,000 pieces, and half of them are like less than a 1 by 2 brick.
Like, and that's another perfect example. Like, oh, like this Exoforce temple I bought way back when had a great price for piece and it was a huge giant build. And I feel like the value of like these remake sets are shrinking now. Like, actually, let me think of it this way. Perfect example, going back to the turbo tank. That 2005 turbo tank is ginormous.
Hmm.
It's huge, but you're getting like you're not gonna get Lego taking those huge plate parts, slapping them on a side, and not just leaving it that. They're not gonna do that anymore. Like they're gonna make these builds more detailed than they were back then. So it's like, sure, the price count's going up, but the build is shrinking. Well, it's
Hmm.
shrinking because it's gotten more detailed.
Right.
If they were to keep it at that size, that from '05, but give it the same level of detailing they're giving for other things now, that set be like $300,
They
and
price
they're not
themselves
going to
out.
release that. That's not going to happen.
And at that point, they would just try to tool it as a UCS set.
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And I think that's one of the other things, Doug. Thank you for bringing that point up. Also, is people taking for granted price for piece because they're like, well, the price for piece on this set way back when was great. Yeah, well, look at the level of detail on that. Like, it does not. Some of those a lot of sets from like the
Hmm.
'90s, early 2000s do not hold up nowadays, as opposed to sets from now that
Right.
have that are much more detailed. Sure, they're smaller, but there's more packed into that. It's
Hmm.
much more pleasing to look at if you're displaying
I
it.
Hmm.
mean, honestly, a good example, I'm thinking back with like the most recently released Spider-Man 2 train set. That seems to be a horrible price per part, but if you look at the original set, like there was a lot more to it, but the
Hmm.
build was very simple compared to the train we get today.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's very
Another
true.
example, too, is if you look at the modular line, the
Yeah,
first two or
Yeah.
three had no interiors. It was just like, here you go, here's the building, here's the facade. And now they're doing interiors, and they're just amazing, some of the things they
Hmm.
pack into those.
yeah. And
So,
that's perfect point also, because like the Green Grocer, there was no inside. And the outside, while it looks great, is very, I'm not gonna say bare bones. It's not uber detailed.
Right.
You
right.
look at like the Tudor corner now, people are like, oh, the modular buildings are so small. Yeah, but that thing is stunning. Like,
And it's
I don't
jam-packed
need it. I
too.
don't need it to be 3 stories tall. If it looks like that, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. And interesting, and it's the price of the modulars has been going up.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So there is some, offset for, because I don't feel like they're getting particularly smaller, a little bit maybe. A good example of something interesting is their Winter Village collection. They've kept the price
Mm.
point on that at $100 for like a dozen years or longer.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like the only price it's ever been is 99.99. And yet they're still able to churn out another set. Now, yes, there's a certain element of people that are like, well, I have them all. I want to get the new one. So they're not almost going to care what it is. I mean, yes, there's going to
Right.
be a break point like, oh, you give me 7 pieces and whatever, they're not going to buy it. But I think that there's things they're doing that are able to keep the price point down using smaller pieces to keep the part count up and still do something interesting.
Hmm.
The Winter Village line to me reminds me of like the 99-cent can, like Arnold Palmer iced teas you get at like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Those things have been 99 cents forever. And that company has been like, yeah, we'll take the loss. Like, we're not even going to
Mhm.
bother with the fact that inflation means we should charge more for these. Like, no,
Hmm.
it's going to be. And I feel like that's the Winter Village line with Lego. They're like,
I
nope, it's
feel
going to be
like
$100 and that's the end of it.
it's the Winter Village, but oddly enough, and I know I'm a big fan of it, not many other people are, but Brickheads.
Yeah.
Each brickhead has always been $10. If it's a two pack, it's $20. If it's a five pack, it's $50. If it's a big one and a smaller brickhead, it's $15. Like that has not changed since brickheads first started. And I think a big part of that is because they don't use a lot of specialized pieces. They do
No.
have some
generally.
prints. They have generally basic pieces. Same with like the Creator 3-in-1 sets. Those I feel like have always been good price because like they're common-ish pieces, but they
Mhm.
also you get three different builds in one set. Yes, you can't do all three at once, and two of the three builds, you're gonna have a bunch of extra pieces, but
Hmm.
those are more common pieces. Like even with Brickheads, they beat the IP tax. They beat the Disney and Star Wars tax. Because like there's been Star Wars, there's been Disney, there's been Marvel, there's been DC, there's Stranger Things coming out, there's Wicked, like there's all these different themes within
Lord of the
Brickheads.
Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
None of them have ever swayed away from that 10 per brickhead, which
right.
is pretty amazing to me.
I think something else that's going on with that is, and this is reflected in the data that I collected, I think, the smaller the set, the less really you can use a price per piece to accurately look at it.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think with the Brickheads and with the Winter Village, which is not necessarily a small set, I think they're pricing that at the same price because they have a built-in market. There's
Yeah.
people that are going to want to collect every single one. If they keep the price the same, they're not going to lose them. It's not like, well, we got to raise the price of the brickheads. They're $12 a piece now. And it's just like some people are like, oh, yeah, whatever, $2, I'll get it. And then other people are gonna be like, no, it's too much now. I'm not gonna buy it. So I think also with the small sets like the brickheads, they're counting on massive quantity of sale because their production, they don't make the same number of a brickhead set as they make for a UCS set.
Hmm.
They
Right.
make far more of the brickheads because they're going to sell many more of them because they're selling them in more outlets. There's more places that will sell them, and it's a great quick buy for like parents who don't want to spend $400 on a UCS set. So they'll buy
Yeah.
the $10 or $12 set, and the kid's happy, and they're happy. And so like there's reasons for them to keep those price
Mhm.
points the same in a lot of cases.
Which is why
Agreed.
Marvel, like why they keep doing the Marvel mechs, much to JJ's dismay. Those
Yep.
small mech sets, they're $10, $12. You just grab it, give it to your kid. They got hours of play with
Yep.
one small set.
But I think even for those, the value of those kind of got worse because there's less parts in a lot of them now because they swapped out some of
Oh, the
those
knee
like
joint.
for the no joint, like the preset limbs for the legs and
Hate
arms.
those.
There's no mixel joints anymore. So those, in my opinion, are an example of okay, we there's less parts for the same amount of money, but those parts you've swapped out, like that six-piece assembly for to create an elbow or whatever it was, the three-piece
Hmm.
assembly is now one large element that makes up
Hmm.
the whole of the arm and the whole of the leg. So that's how they're like, yeah, we can reduce the amount of pieces in this by including larger ones that take up more space.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, like the conversation about around like a lot of people have been like price per piece doesn't matter anymore. And what originally my main thought for wanting to talk about this before was I was watching one of Jang's reviews
Hmm.
and he was talking about the MIDI scale Kylo Ren command shuttle. And I was like, that set sucks because it's just small. And for $70, there's like 400 pieces. This is not it. This is not worth it to me. But when I see him talk about it, he's got on display and the wingspan is out there, and he goes, "Does this feel like $70 worth of stuff right here?" And he was like, for the overall footprint this has and how large it is when it's on display, regardless of the piece count, he's like, from what I remember, he was like, this does kind of work a little bit.
Wow.
Maybe it would feel better if it was 60, but like this feels like $70 worth of something right here. Now, if I'm wrong, and that was when like I watched the review like a few weeks ago, but he was very much like he's used that a lot recently with like, does this set here feel like $50 worth of stuff?
Mhm.
And sometimes he says, yeah, it does. And other times he says, no, it doesn't.
I
So
think a
there's
perfect
also that.
example for that for you personally is that B-Wing. It was
Oh, the Ewing,
70
yeah,
the Ewing. It was
the Ewing.
$70, but you holding it, you say it kind of feels more worth it actually having built and held it.
Yeah, like when I saw that, I'm like, man, it's like it's a smaller Ewing, like it's $70, whatever, like it's fine. But I got it because I needed it. I got it because I was like, yeah, let me pick this up. It looks kind of
Hmm.
fun. I just finished Andor, so I wanted to get it. I wanted to get Andor and K2, so I got it. I built the thing, and I was like, yeah, this is great. I bit
Hmm.
the finished product once I built it. To me, is that felt like I'm like that was money well spent there. That was money well spent, and that's another point that I think we need to bring up is some people subjectively will spend more money on sets with bad price per piece ratios, quote unquote, but in the end, they build that and go, I liked this. I enjoyed this experience. This
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
worth it to me. Whereas somebody else might go, this is not enough parts for the money I'm buying, for the money I'm spending. This is not worth it to me in the end. And they don't get it. So there's also that subjectivity of people might be like, I don't care. This is, I don't care. This turbo tank is 20 cents per piece. I'm going to buy it because I love the turbo tank more than my own life. And I'm going to build
Hmm.
this thing and it's going to be worth it to me.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to be said about nostalgia factor for
Yeah.
remakes of older sets, and also just like a theme or like if oh just a one-off. Like I really like this particular car, like they make a
Hmm.
supercar or something like that. I really like this car. Like for me, in when I was younger, I kind of liked the idea of the Lamborghini Countach.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That was like the supercar at one time. Well, they finally made one. I'm like, that's a set I'm going to pick up. You know?
Yeah. I
Exactly.
mean, I'm looking back here, like I remember a set that when it was released, everyone criticized it because it had a horrible price per part. And at the time, nobody wanted to buy it. I bought it, and then as the years went on, people regretted not buying it for a few reasons. But it was the Hulk versus Red Hulk with their, I guess, monster trucks.
Hmm.
But the fact that it had two big figs and then essentially three exclusive characters, nobody wanted to buy it at the time. But as years went on, everybody regrets not picking up because like it was the first She-Hulk, the first Red Hulk, the only Red She-Hulk, and like did it feel like worth at the time? Yes and no. Like you got the big tires, you get the big vehicles. Like it's got a cool play feature of just crashing them together, and like they kind of fly everywhere. So like at the time, maybe I felt less inclined, more so because of what everybody was talking about.
Hmm.
But like if I ignored everyone's opinions, and if it was like a kid who got it, they could just have hours and hours of play. And then for me, as a Marvel collector, I got three exclusive characters at the time. And I got a new variant of Hulk, which I was very happy to have because it had the green hair, had the bright purple pants, had the neon colored Hulk.
Yeah, that was
It was
cool.
just very cool for me at the time. And like it was worth it to me at that time.
Mhm.
Now more than ever, because everybody's trying to get their hands on the She-Hulk and the Red Hulk because they like those two versions better than the ones that have come out in recent years. Like the Red Hulk, yes, it's got the removable head and the removable hair, but people want the yellow eyes. And then the She-Hulk is from the She-Hulk show in the CMF. Not many people like the show. They want the original classic, actual classic comic looking suit. So
Hmm.
like it what it really does boil down to for me at least for price per part, that shouldn't matter. It's if is it worth it to you?
Very true. Um, Another weird anomaly there is the price per piece before we go into the spreadsheet and look at that here is 4+ sets. Because those are always like 52 pieces, $35. And you're like, that's insane. But in the end, it's like, yeah, because there's like a giant hull piece that takes up, that like makes up like the entirety of this spaceship.
Hmm.
And there's like a windscreen piece you click on and like three other tiles for colors. And that's the end of it. Like, boom, done. There you go. Like, yeah, there's like right there.
I mean, like for this Hulk car, this could be like theoretically $10 set, but because like this bottom piece that holds the tires, that's one big piece.
Yep.
That's not supposed to cost 10 cents. That's
No.
gonna, in real less, if you took this car and built it out with regular Lego pieces, you're gonna be looking at like, I don't know, 15 to 20 pieces to make this one piece to actually make it work.
But at the same time, people will also sit there and they don't criticize the 4+ sets for pricing because they're 4+ sets. They have giant molds.
Exactly.
There's like this aura of like it's okay for certain themes to
Right.
have price per piece go out the
Like
window.
this one alone, this piece is huge.
Yeah. Like there's certain themes that people just seemingly just turn a blind eye to. The price per piece ratio on this is awful, but it's because of A, B, C, D factors. It's
Hmm.
okay.
Right.
But for other themes, it's a huge deciding factor on whether or not a set is worth something or not.
Hmm.
Now, let's go into the spreadsheet and take a look at this data that was collected here, Cam, if you want to pull that up.
All right.
Because this was actually really cool stuff to look at here before we started recording. And I will let Doug run with this once it gets pulled up because he is the mastermind behind where this data came from.
Well, it was just an idea I had that made some sense to have some points to talk about.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Bug flying around my camera.
All
Here we
right.
are.
Where do we want to start?
Well, right now it is ordered by year. So you'll see the first two sets there that Chuck and I chose as our first sets. I don't have pricing data for. So I basically, do I trust the data? No, because it's not complete data. The other thing I'll mention is there's no minifigs of the moon landing set, but there's actually three brick built astronauts with it because it predates
Hmm.
minifigures.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So, but yeah, it goes down from there. The only other one besides those two is the Batrax from 87. Oddly, I could not pull a price on it from where I looked.
Hmm.
Huh.
Don't know why that is.
One minifigure.
So,
That is weird.
um, also, Jeff had to pick his first set, the Treasure Cart Polybag.
Hmm.
Yep. It came up with a $2 original price tag, but that's 1992 for a polybag. I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and it came with a minifig and a little treasure chest and a little cart. It was kind of cool. And of course, you've got the set numbers there, so people could look these up if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Methuselah, like as you mentioned, that Bionicle set,
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
were specialized pieces. You're looking at 23 cents per piece. But now,
Yep.
granted, that was a bigger size than like an average Lego set. So like you felt like you probably got your money's worth for $7 at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And even though it only had 30 pieces, because,
Right.
they're bigger.
All right, Daniel, what's your first set?
Well, there's let's look. I mean, well that Batmobile, by the way, is a
Hmm.
6 cent per piece on 1,000 pieces. That's really good.
Wow.
Now it's a 2006 set, so there's that.
Hmm.
But I
Yep.
mean, and then also like even in the theme, we look at Ben the Brick Builder's first set was the Batman Dragster Catwoman Pursuit. That had 92 pieces, retail for $10, and that was 10 cents per piece, almost on the money. Same theme, same release year, same everything for it pretty much.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And the Ultimate Collector set, technically speaking, is more of a bang for your buck price for piece wise than the play set is.
And I will point out, though, the playset had two minifigures and the Batmobile had none.
Had none. That's very correct. That's
Wow.
very true.
So the minifigs, they're small, but I mean, it's not
Hmm.
inconsequential to print on them. And like they've got to pop the arms in place and they got to get all that stuff
Yep.
has to happen correctly. So,
Now let's scroll down and look at some of these bigger ones because there's some chunker
yep.
sets down this way. So
And there was a couple where two people picked them, so it's on there twice.
Hmm.
Avengers Tower's on there twice. Yeah.
So was Rivendell.
Oh, Rivendell's on there twice too. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Scott and
Now I,
Right
Chuck.
above the
now,
Avengers Tower.
now I see it. Yeah, both like Avengers Tower, 9 cents per piece. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. There's
Yeah,
32
with 21 figures
with
or
yeah, with
32
21
figures.
with 32 figures. That's a pretty good deal right there. Like that's a
Yep.
really good price
Hmm.
for piece ratio.
Yeah.
Rivendell, 10 minifigures. Oh, sorry. Rivendell's 21 minifigures,
Hmm.
Yep.
and that was $500. That's 8 cents per piece. So some of these larger sets recently have still had that are coming in well below that
Hmm.
10 cents per piece ratio that
Yep.
people really look
I
for.
mean, I gotta say
But
for like the
bear in
Avengers.
mind
Oh.
that especially with a set like Rivendell, you had all those tiny little tiles on the roofs. Each one of
Exactly.
those is a piece.
Yep.
I
Avengers
mean,
Avengers Tower too that had all the little window panes that go in there. There was hundreds of those in that stuff. Hundreds.
even with the Avengers Tower, like looking at it, like they have exclusive minifigures, like all exclusive minifigures? No, they had some exclusive minifigures and some amazing prints on there. And it's the detail
Mhm.
that Lego fans today want. Like they want the most detailed minifigures.
Yep.
It's becoming more so that they care more about the minifigures and the build itself, which is disappointing because that defeats the whole purpose of Lego. But like looking at that set, I can look and see the number of minifigures that are just amazing to me. And that's
Mhm.
in an expensive set, and it's still got like that's a solid that fits the price per part module. But at the same time, to me, it doesn't matter about the price per part. I wanted to buy it because it was the Avengers Tower. It was the biggest Marvel set, and it's got the most minifigures in a Marvel set. Like you can't top that as a Marvel
True.
fan.
Right.
Now, here's an interesting one to look at too. My favorite set of all time is on here, the Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon.
It's
The
not a
second
Batman
version,
set
dude, the UCS Millennium Falcon's goated. Um, the second one, it's just the best set ever made. I'm sorry. Um,
until the Death
the
Star.
no, the 2017 version, that set had a price increase recently, so it's 850 now. When I got it, it was 800.
Yep.
Um,
I considered putting the 800 in, but I just went with what was listed.
Hmm.
well, and I'm glad you did because the 800, it's only 11 cents per piece. At the $800 price point, it's less than that. So
Yeah.
Right.
that really isn't even that bad either.
Nope.
Oh wow. Even looking at the Disney Castle right above it, it's got
Yep.
8 cents, and that was the first Disney Castle. And then we were just talking about the Disney tax. So
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
almost as if the
Yeah.
bigger set it is, it should theoretically be a better price per part. But
Yeah.
as we're
And
seeing,
I think it has something to do with the fact that once you get to a certain piece count, they're like, okay, well, we're building enough profit. We can lower the price a little bit to make it more
I
affordable, more
mean,
Correct.
attractive.
in a sense, it's like Costco. If you buy in bulk, it should theoretically be cheaper.
Hmm.
I also love that World War II, World War II Bricks has the UCS ATST from this year, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
That's got, I mean, that's 13 cents per piece. The Tantive 4 from 2024, the mini scale one, 12 cents per piece. Like, that's not terrible. That's not
Mm-mm.
Nope.
awful.
I am
I mean, I'll take
curious.
that.
I'm gonna see if I can sort this by.
Data at the top,
Okay.
Here we go.
So the cheapest one here is the Friends Central Perk.
which was very surprising to me.
Wow.
I question whether or not the $60 was correct, but I checked it in two places and they both said 60. So
No, it was, yeah,
Yeah, it
the
was.
Central Perk coffee shop, that was only
That is
60 bucks.
surprising, especially with like all the exclusive prints and like
mhm.
I think that might have been the first time like Phoebe's hair was the first time that hairpiece was used, possibly.
But
I
at the
might be
same, no,
wrong.
that hair piece was in the Supergirl poly bag from Dimensions.
Oh,
Um,
no,
that
no, the long straight one.
that she had that hair. No, that's not the hair. That was from the apartments, not the
Mm.
diner, or the coffee shop. That set has 1,000 pieces for 60 bucks, but there's a lot of teeny tiny little
A lot
one
of
stud,
detail.
Yep.
lot
Yep.
of small parts like that.
Yeah. Although it does have seven figures too.
It does.
Correct. There's a lot of minifigures in that also.
Now, if we look at the most expensive, I mean, obviously we're not going to have anything with here,
Yeah.
but we got Max with the Aqua Rescue Transport with 34 cents per piece.
Jack Stone.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
That
2001.
it's practically a 4+ set. Jack
Yes.
Stone had bigger pieces.
Yeah.
So
And then there's
Again, like
Methuselah's Onua.
yep.
I feel like when you look at price per piece, again, there's certain themes that have to just get thrown out the window because they just
Mm-mm,
don't apply. Like
Hmm.
Jurassic World for me,
mm-mm.
it does
Which didn't make
apply.
the list at all. Nobody
Yes.
mentioned a Jurassic Park set.
Well, what's interesting is a lot of the different like perfect examples this year, the Mosasaurus Jurassic Park set,
Mhm.
people love that thing. The price
Hmm.
per piece ratio on it is phenomenal, and you get a really good animal creature build that's not molded.
Right.
And the fear that a lot of the Lego Jurassic people have right now is, oh my God, is the Mosasaur going to basically spell the end for molded dinosaurs?
Hmm.
I don't think that'll happen because people love the molded dinosaurs way too
Hmm.
much.
Yeah. The other
But
thing, so you've got the Arctic icebreaker there just above the Onua,
Yeah.
and that's, pretty bad. But again, you've got those large ship pieces.
yeah,
Right.
Um,
And then like
plus
right
there's a
above
exactly.
that.
polar bear and four huskies in it. So
Oh,
they're
the
almost like minifigs.
hmm And then like for me, like right here with my first set, the Ogel Mutant Squid, which I won't show off because the screen's too small, but like that was a $10 set at the time, and it's 17, almost 18 cents per part in
Hmm.
2002. So like
Yep.
even back then, smaller sets didn't have a good price per part. Now, granted, there were some bigger pieces in that,
Hmm.
and you had one minifigure, but he had a trans red hook, which I'm sure wasn't that common at the time.
Hmm.
So it price per part, what it really boils down to is size of pieces, but also is it a new piece? Is it a specially molded piece? Is it more detailed?
Correct.
And that's what's boiling down to. Like people shouldn't look at it like
Yeah.
it's well the same parameter for every single set.
So like the Rivendell's, all those roof tiles are what they're quarter rounds, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they're just it's a simple piece in a monochrome color. It's not like they printed all of those tiles to make them special or anything. So
Yeah. Like I another good example, like taking a look at one of the ones that Scott had picked, the Black Knight Castle. That one, $85, 588 pieces, 14 cents per piece. Not the best, but
Hmm.
those old castles used a lot of very large pieces to make up the castle walls, and those older castles had pretty significant footprints. Like they were
Yes.
pretty big. So you sit there and you go, well, that to some people,
yeah.
it might
Four
not be.
horses and a raised base plate.
Oh, thank you. And there's also that. So
Hmm.
it's like that takes up a larger footprint with less pieces. So in terms of the overall size, you're like, man, this is big. This is worth almost 90 bucks, 100%. Whereas nowadays, more pieces, but they're smaller pieces, it's feeling smaller. And people are going, this doesn't feel like I'm holding, 50 bucks in my hand here with certain
Hmm.
things.
Hmm. I
Um,
mean, a great example of this too is like, and I almost challenge people to do this, like pull out some of your pieces, grab a handful of a small piece and throw it down and give yourself like 2 seconds to guess how many are there. And when you
yeah.
count them, there's going to be more there than when you guessed.
Hmm.
100%.
I'm looking at this and what I'm finding interesting, like we were talking about, like, I was saying how City probably has a better price per part outside of like the train sets and like the big boat sets, but we got like the deep sea refuge here. I don't
Hmm.
remember what piece was worth that, but like that's at 13 cents, almost 14 cents per part in
Hmm.
1997. Like
Yeah, it
that.
comes with five large animals, which aren't counted in the minifigure
Yeah,
count.
Cam, if you
Okay.
scroll
There's
over, there's data off
Yeah,
to the
there's
side
two
too.
manta rays, a shark, an octopus, and a dolphin.
Okay.
Yeah. So like right here, like perfect, like low part count, bionicle pieces, low part count, low part count, low part
Hmm.
count, shipped
Yeah, that was
pieces,
basically I
polar.
was because I had the column K is do I trust the data as being decent? And maybe, and I kind of said why I didn't. No, I said why I didn't. And if it seemed good, then I would let it go.
Hmm.
And there are some great price points for good ones, and there's some horrible price points for
Yeah,
ones that I pretty much trust. But there are reasons why I made those
Hmm.
notes.
yeah. I mean, perfect example, like two flat base plates. That's pretty substantial. Three flat base plates,
Hmm.
raised base plate, two to three ship hull parts. Like that's a big deal.
Hmm.
Yep.
Like the four horses and the raised base plate.
Yep.
The ice cutter one, two large hull boats, a polar bear, and four huskies. Like that's huge. That's a
Yep.
lot of very large, very specific molded pieces that we
Hmm.
Yeah.
don't get all the time. But again, people see those parts and well, that price point is justified because
Right.
Yeah.
instead of giving us 60 pieces or 100 pieces to make up this thing, here's the one specialized element that takes up, and it's
Hmm.
worth that much.
And
Yeah.
then like just a example to kind of go the opposite direction, if you take a look at like the creator bins of just a bunch of like colored bricks, essentially,
Hmm.
like there's
Hmm.
no specifically molded pieces, those price per parts I'm sure are fantastic
They
because
are.
they're the simplest of bricks that you can get. And like
Yep.
it kind of promotes the imagination. And those are great values if you're only looking at price per part. But now if you're
Yeah.
looking at somewhat pre-built or like a model like for Star Wars, if you take a Star Wars set from 2000 compared to now, like the Slave One, the first one that we got was very simple, very blocky. Compared to today, there's lots of curves, there's lots of smoothness, there's not
Yep.
many studs exposed. It looks like the actual Slave One versus a Lego set. And I feel like
Hmm.
that's getting lost in translation of the price per part. People aren't initially taking that consideration, but then once they buy the set, they say, okay, this looks fantastic compared to this one.
Yeah. And Cam, you hit on something too there with the basic creator sets, just the basic parts packs. They can be incredibly cheap. I mean, 2, 3 cents per part
Hmm.
sometimes if you're real lucky.
Wow.
Um, but the thing is, and you made me think of something, is those are pieces that they're making in giant quantities.
Yep.
Some of them are used in other things, but that's the
Mhm.
thing is like when they're doing things for a year, they're probably not making the parts for that set. And then, oh, we need that part again. And they make it again. They say, okay, we need to make this because it's in 7 sets. And they make 14 million of them instead of 3 million because it's going in 7 sets. So I think, those basic parts packs have a great price because those are parts that they're already
Mhm.
building, they're already making for other sets. So a set with more individual pieces that aren't in other things is going to raise your price
Right.
because they're only running it that part once for maybe that color or for that mold or something like that.
Yeah, like the creative 3 in ones, there's a lot of just basic bricks or just
Mhm.
Yep.
basic elements that get recolored. And it's like, yeah, they're gonna go through and make millions upon millions of
Mhm.
like a red 2x4. So yeah, let's use
Exactly.
those for the inside of stuff. There's also things like that you like. That's a very good point, Doug. Of like, there's certain parts in certain colors that are always being manufactured every single year that don't come out of the like. There's sometimes where hey, we're not manufacturing this part right now. It's not in the library. They get retired. Maybe it comes back later because they need it for something, and it makes sense for them to pop it up. But there's a lot of other factors. I think to answer the question, does price per piece still matter? Yes, it does.
Mm.
It is still a metric that can be used and should be used to help determine the value of a set. There are obviously outliers in play where certain things will skew it, like electronics or large specialized molded parts. But for the most part, price per piece should still 100% be used as a metric to help determine values for sets.
See, I disagree. I feel like in some cases it can be, but I feel like it's slightly outdated as like we've talked about this entire episode. Like there's more specialized pieces now. There's newer minifigure molds. There's a lot more other factors outside of just the price per part. And just like to prove more to your point that Doug was mentioning with like those simple bricks that are built and mass produced, the Spider-Man art set was $200 and it had how many pieces? It had um where can I find it? It averaged why am I missing all this information?
You're looking at Brickset or on the Lego website?
Oh, there it is. So it had 2,099 pieces for $200, and the reason that that price was able to remain so low is because it had the most 2x4 red bricks in a Lego set. You
Hmm.
wouldn't know that looking at the set, but that's because it's within the set. Now that is a good price per parks. It's only 9.5. It's below the threshold. But at the same time, like there's different sets now. Like in the modern era, there's more molded pieces, there's more detailed pieces, and there's smaller pieces now. So I feel like it used to be a good parameter to kind of base on a set. Now I feel you kind of want to look at the detail in the set as well as the size of the pieces, as well as like if you feel like as you mentioned with Jang JJ,
Hmm.
if you're holding it in your hand, is it worth that price? Some will say yes, some will say no, but it also depends on the person as well. Someone's going to feel nostalgic and want to buy like the Game Boy set coming out next month.
Hmm.
So many people are going to buy that purely for the nostalgia factor of buying the Game Boy when it first released. If I'm not mistaken, it's actually cheaper than the Game Boy was when it first released. I might be wrong, I'm not sure.
I mean, $60 right now. That set is.
I mean, that's at $60, but when the Game Boy first came out, wasn't it like 70 or $80? Like the original Game Boy.
I don't
I don't know, we weren't born yet, JJ, but
know.
that
I don't
that's what I
recall.
mean.
Yeah.
No,
As
Doug, you
far
weren't
as
born yet either.
I would say the price per piece is a great starting point because
Yes.
it's easy to
Yes.
calculate. You can just like it's an easy decimal place movement for math. It's not like, oh, the new threshold is 12 cents per. Oh, let me get my phone out and do the math. And it's like
Right.
10 cents you can just do. And I think that's one of the reasons that it stuck is because it was just you could stand there in the store and figure it out. It
Hmm.
like you could just fall over. It's just too easy. And I
Hmm.
think that's one of the big reasons. So it's a good starting point, but then you need to look
Hmm.
at those details that Cam was just mentioning. What are the minifigures like? Are there lots of small pieces? Are there detailed pieces? Does it have an IP tax?
Yeah. Honestly, that's kind of more what I was thinking. That's more what I was trying to get out was it's a good metric to be able to still apply to sets now. Minus the outliers like your 4 plus, construction figures that don't even make anymore, but
Duplo.
Duplo, yeah, God, Duplo's value is nuts. But like, yes, like let's say, oh, this set is 12 cents per piece. That's like I shouldn't buy it. Well, no, like 12 cents is not bad. What's in it? Like, oh, there's a couple of cool exclusive figures. Great. That makes up the
Mhm.
extra 2 cents. There you go. Boom, goodbye.
I
There's
mean,
things like that.
I forget how many pieces were in this set, but I was really happy to get it for half off because like there's a lot of pearl gold pieces in it. I'm sure that that's not a common color to inject mold. Like I forget what the exact wording is,
Injection
but
mold.
injection molding process. But I feel like I got my money's worth definitely because it's only $70 versus 140. Now, I would say this is probably more 100, 120 as opposed to the 140, but that's just me holding it in hand. But that's also not considering the all the pearl gold and like the stickers, which I don't think we really got into too much with like printing versus stickers. So that I feel like that should play a little bit into the conversation as well. Because like if you get a whole bunch of
Yeah.
stickers versus printed pieces, you're going to appreciate the printed pieces and you might pay a little bit more to get the printed pieces versus having to deal with all the stickers.
That doesn't.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I actually have talked to people who prefer the stickers over the printed ones because they feel like if you have a printed piece, it is what it is. It's like if
True.
you have a stickered piece, you don't have to put the sticker on it. Now you can use that piece for something else.
Correct.
True.
There's also people who sit there and go, well, Lego should just have everything be printed. And they don't like stickers, and they think that the just standard everything is printed should just be the standard. There should be no stickers. We should just get everything printed. But that would jack the price of a setup to no
Exactly.
end also. Like there's a good mix. Like there's a
Yeah.
good mix. I personally could care less about stickers. They're there, great. They
Yeah.
they let you add that detail, but like Doug said, like I would like certain parts I like having printed. Like windscreen pieces. Love having them printed because it just makes them look better. You don't get the air bubbles on them with the sticker and all that, all kind of
Right.
jazz. But other times it's like I like getting those Lego stickers because I can take that sticker, like perfect example, like Batman sets. A million Batman stickers I've got. I make Batman mocks. Great. Now I have that Batman sticker I can put on a piece on another build to use that if I
Mhm.
want to. So there's also
Yeah.
like
And it doesn't have to be a piece that has the Batman logo on it already because it was printed only.
then
You
there's
can
Right.
that
choose what
too.
piece you put it on.
Exactly.
And like we could go further into like looking at like capes or like the big large sails from ships, or if you look at the
Hmm.
Avatar sets with like those plastic wings, there's a whole other different types of pieces. So
Hmm.
like I think Doug hit it right in the money where it's a good baseline to look at a set,
Yes.
but it shouldn't be the ultimate deciding factor.
Agreed. Does anybody have any final points they would like to make before we wrap up now, I guess?
I
No?
think we've hit all the points that we need to with
I
this.
think we did too. So, Doug, thank you very much for coming on. And also, thank you very much for putting out that incredibly informative spreadsheet. That was actually really cool getting to sit through and look at a lot of that data. So, thank you for
It
that.
kind of made sense to have something to look at
Yes.
Mhm.
when we're talking about it. So
I mean, I think we kind of were going to just pull up Brickset and use that, but having the spreadsheet so you could
All the
manipulate
information
that was
right there,
cool to
yeah.
see. So,
yeah,
thank you for doing that.
Mhm.
no problem.
Um, would you like to plug where everybody can find you before we sign off here?
Uh, DOTU Bricks on YouTube. DOTU Bricks at Bricklink. That's about it.
We'll have both of those linked below. So if you want to check out Doug's store, you can. And you can check out his YouTube channel. He's got a bunch of cool stuff on there.
Yes.
Um, if you have not already, so make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, Brick Hour Pod. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when all brand new episodes go live every Fridays at 2. Um, this past Tuesday, we had the release of Bionicle Part 2. So we are very excited to have that up and continuing the collaboration with LJ, which has been great. Still two parts left. You've missed part one. Go back and watch that before part three comes out this upcoming Tuesday. All again, time capsule episodes are always every third Tuesday of every month at 5 o'clock. And you can also find us on Instagram at Brick Hour Pod. You can find me on Instagram at Langster Builds. We will see everybody next week. Have a great night. Happy building.
Take care.